I don't know if the superintendents are coming back down to eat.
They're not.
They're not? Okay, then take what you want. Within reason. Maybe at least 3 enchiladas.
Jump up to wave, this is Trina.
Am I the only one on conference call?
You're the only one conference, we have 2 others on Zoom.
Okay. I'm not so much until this meeting's over, so what, I guess, what's your timeline, or we're gonna continue on, or you guys taking a break, or?
They plan to continue on, they're just gonna grab food and continue on.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
Oh, they can eat.
I know.
Well, I propose that we go ahead and continue that discussion about hourly. And what percentage you would like to look at.
So your proposal is that the percentage be matched roughly the percentage.
I'm not sure what's happened before. Some places do that. And like I said, Dodge City, no, because they're still negotiating. And so they decided to do a 2.8.
I think in the recent past, we've tried to be equitable. Yeah, I do too. I think that it's wise.
Should I have a motion?
Sure.
I would ask for a motion. Have a motion, have a second. Any further discussion?
I didn't, let's say, I did not hear the amount that was kind of quiet that was being discussed.
I'm sorry, thank you.
They were proposing the same as teachers, which is 4%.
Three,
Okay,
three.
Average of 4.
Pardon? I'm sorry. Okay,
Derek told me it was an average of 4%.
I think we want to be careful throwing out percentages right now in the concession.
do what?
Oh, yes. So,
I'm sorry, did I didn't listen to. I accept that, I think the motion that was made. Okay. Any further discussion?
Just a second. The motion is that the proposal for salaries that be equitable to that
Yeah.
personal.
For administrative and classified. Okay, have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Okay.
so then, I listened into the last board meeting and you had asked John to come up with a para pay schedule. So I took all of our paras and this sheet here, and they're not quite all listed because some of them, if there was like a repeat, I didn't repeat. But this tells you kind of where we are at all over the place. And what really was alarming to me is we have some parents who have bachelor's degrees that have been here for 19 years, and they're making less than parents that were here that don't have a high school education. Yeah. So you can see the numbers everywhere. So what I did then was kind of developed a pay schedule. This does not include an increase. This is kind of the current, we pay high school at 12, if they have an associate or a parapro at $12.50, a bachelor's degree at 13. And so I just kind of then took some of where a majority of these people are, kind of placed those numbers here, and then just added increases along the way. So there really was not a specific rhyme or reason. I just tried to kind of match this to what we've currently been doing. If we were no raises, just strictly adopt this right here that I proposed, we would have 23 of our 300 paras that would be grandfathered in because they may be like 10 cent less if I plug them in here. Some of them might be 50 cents. None of them were over $1 less. So I propose that those would be grandfathered in because you don't want to give them a decrease. But I would propose that we look at adopting a set schedule. Then down the road, I've added more going across. I would propose looking at something to help keep our parents here, and that's an incentive. Jesse fights it because they don't want to get their in-service logs because they're sped, they have to get so many hours. And so just down the road, a proposal that we add as they get more in-service hours, as they get more professional development, that we could in on down that way. But I've added the years of service going down.
So
And if we were to give them a raise, we would just strictly do percentage straight across.
I struggle with the whole step structure anyway, because I hate you've been there a year, you're entitled to this, no matter how well you're doing your job. But that's de facto what we've done, because we just put a raise on a blanket. It's not based on the overall. Yeah, so I think that it's wise. I don't like the structure of the whole. I think it's wise.
You're one of those capitalists, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion about, that's something, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I appreciate all the time and effort you put into it, Trina, and the numbers and everything. Yeah, I guess I have a little bit of a concern, in terms of, you know, the year to year, sometimes it's a dime, sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's only a nickel. Yeah, I guess my thought would be, and I appreciate this, but is there any reason, and again, going back to grandfathering in, I would fully support that as well, but, step one at $12, and then basically just having it 20 cents per year every year, all the way down. So, you know, you don't look back in 5 or 10 years and go, well, why at year 9 to 10 did we do this, but year 13 to 14 is this? I guess I just like to see something consistent for every step. You know, again, whatever that number is, if it's 20 cents, that basically puts you at a $4 spread between year 1 and year 21 instead of the $3 spread that you've got in there now. And then the column, you know, I sure concur. I think there needs to be some recognition there, and I have no problem with 50 cents in column 1 and $1 in column 2. But again, I guess I would just flow that all the way through the spreadsheet, just so you have a consistent pattern in the whole grid.
And I was going to do that, and like I said, the only reason I didn't was because of where many of them fell currently.
You were trying to make it sort of match up.
Right. Otherwise, we would be giving like $2 and $3 raises to some of those down at the bottom right now. So that was my rationale behind that. Because I started doing that, and then I realized that we would have huge discrepancies here.
So
But I can sure make one up and bring it next time too.
the 20 cents does concern me too, because at some point, we're going to be jumping our base salary over time because cost of living increases. It's just realistic, and that will outpace 20 cents a year. And so that would be.
Well, you know, and I guess that was my thought is if your step is 20 cents a year, and we decide that we want to do a 3 or a 4% increase, you know, you add 20 cents onto your base, and so then everyone's getting a 40-cent raise. You put 30 or 35 cents onto your base, everybody's getting a 50 or 55-cent raise along there. So I guess I was looking at it from both those vantage points is there's a benefit to having years of service and being part of this, and then you adjust your base for part of the cost of living increase.
And I'm looking at Dodge City's current proposal, and theirs varies. It depends on, some of them are 25 cents, some of them are 50 cents, some of them are only 20 cents. So theirs was kind of all over the place. But I can definitely rework it up, doing like a 20 or 25 cents all the way down. You guys can look at that comparison next time.
Yeah, I'd like to see just a couple options and what that does in the overall dollar.
And I guess I would concur with that last deal is from the proposal that you have here, what's that total dollar figure versus a couple of other options? What does that do to the total bottom line of the budget? Because I realize we are dealing with a lot of personnel.
Right. And I will get those numbers next time.
Thank you for doing that.
The other piece to that is we have 4 what we call CODA paras. Those are our paras who perform basically OT services. In the past, they've been hired in at a higher rate, so many of them are anywhere 18 to 20 some an hour. This last year, a couple of them incurred pretty high, over $800 in overtime costs. We have a new one hiring on. 3 of them were offered insurance, so the question is, do we offer insurance now to this 4th one? But my other proposal would be, since they are on a different level, they're not like their normal paras, could we possibly move them to a salary schedule? A salary schedule that would be, take their average now, so they wouldn't lose money, but keep it, I didn't even get that figured, but move the 4 quotas to a salary schedule so that we wouldn't have to do overtime.
So we paid 800 per pay period?
Okay.
800
It was more like the last,
hours.
and that's the question we had, was, it was more like March, April, there was some overtime hours, and we were like, we weren't, so I questioned those hours.
What are their qualifications? You know, are they,
Some of them are nursing, some of them have some health background to them.
They have to carry a license.
okay. So they kind of match up better with them, like it's certified.
So why are they under the para umbrella? Doesn't seem to fit.
That's my proposal.
Yeah. So your proposal is pull them out of that, with them underclassified.
Right.
Or, yeah. Certified.
They'd be under, like, certified, they'd still be classified because they're not, they don't have a teaching license, but they would be not necessarily on the para.
And would that change any, that change who manages them at all?
No.
Okay.
And we're talking 5 people.
Or,
Or,
That have to add one.
there's
So we have
3,
3 in Redmond.
one quit to be replaced.
If you have a license, then you're kind of more of a professional.
We need to-
I need a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Mineola, second. I have a third. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Both same sign.
Talking about paras, under Title I, anyone who works in a Title I building has to be highly qualified. That's including paras. Currently, paras, they have to have so many hours, which is 48 college hours an associate, or pass an approved para assessment. They have recently been doing what's called Para Pro. An ETS manages Para Pro, and right now, there's no area here in Southwest Kansas to take it, other than Dodge City, HR here office. So we, Jesse and I looked into it, and Paraeducator PD Now is an approved assessment. We could have our paras take it. We can do $42 per para, or an unlimited site license at $7,499 a year. I know that several of our districts, I know Ashland, Kismet for sure, need their parents to be qualified. My gut, and I've not had a chance to talk to superintendents, is most of them probably do, so if they get Title I dollars, they need their parents to be qualified. So if we were, if you guys voted to allow us to get this unlimited license, then we could potentially offer that out to other districts. And they could send their parents to us, and then we could charge them to recoup some of that money.
So right now, they would have to come here to Dodge and get that done anyway, right? But this would allow them to do it in their home district.
I believe we have to factor it. But a part of that also includes the practice assessments. And there's 10 practice modules. And the passing rate after they've done those modules is almost 100%. And then there's also additional PD classes they can take to become like a master para. If they, that license at $42 also includes that, which is also a way then for them to continue to get their in-service hours.
And that can be done.
That can be done, yeah. That can be done wherever, the practice can be done wherever, they have to be factored into.
Do we pay like Dodge now for them to take the test here, or how does that work?
Right now, basically, it's on Dodge Paris, we take it here and Dodge lets us do it.
And everybody else is not doing what they're supposed to do.
From what I understand, I think they're struggling, right?
Well, that seems like.
And Jesse would manage that.
Yes, Jesse.
I mean, the aspect of recouping some of the costs, well, it sounds nice. It sounds like it really doesn't matter because we're out of compliance.
But- Well, and our other districts are out. Yes.
Well, that's what-
I believe our paras pay $55.
I believe so.
And then if they fail, they have to pay $55 if it comes to gym, which is an issue because I don't know now, but when I was a para facilitator, lots of people starting didn't have the money to take the test to
Right.
even start.
It seems like a lot when you're paying somebody $9 an hour. And they gotta pay 55 up front to take a test.
And then that's if they pass it, which honestly, for some of our second language staff, it can be kind of hard. So
Which is why these practice modules are great.
Is the $42, that's just for the test?
That's
That's
the practice, the test, and the PD.
So do we, or have you estimated, we need the unlimited one, do you think, versus the $42 each?
If we chose to have all of our peers do it, at $42, it would be $12,000,
And the overall license was $7,200.
$7,499.
All the parents would take it.
All the parents could take it,
In all the districts.
in all the districts. And we could recoup the cost of having the other districts pay us.
We need a motion that's not a expenditure. I don't know if that needs to be. Is it? Or do you
Probably
want,
don't need a motion, but I just wanted to.
you want one?
Yeah.
Or not?
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, I have a motion. And we're talking about the unlimited.
Yep.
Okay. Have a second. Any further discussion?
Is it something you do each year? So after we sort of get everybody up to speed,
So we could
maybe.
probably just do it for license.
Yeah,
We go through it.
that's true. Not like-
Yeah, we do.
We can reevaluate.
Through the policy book.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Okay.
We go through less since Terry's not doing it.
Yeah, since I'm not in
Yes,
charge
it's
of
been
this
a
year.
Okay, we don't want you to pass out when you see what Lisa's gonna give you.
Oh, I passed out. And let me tell you what Lisa said.
Okay, so that's just Steve.
Lisa said, welcome to Trina.
Now I see what it is.
I think the girls and I are going to the water park.
I already told you.
Let's do it.
Now, remember at the very beginning consent and it said policy was under KSB?
It's been there for a while.
And my
It's been there for a while.
request is please don't just go and throw this in the trash can, because it took me and the other girl quite a while to make them.
I will let you hold on. to
Here's,
You got one.
here's the current board policy book for 613. This is what KSB suggested.
That's why we did this.
Did you forget to bring
Then-
That's why
yours?
we call them.
Jeff laughed at me, because as I had not seen this yet, I was just going through this. All of my post-it notes were ones that I thought, ooh, we need to either revise, we need to do, which are included in here. So a couple of those I want to go over with you, and then I am proposing that at your leisure kind of look at, because these have to all be like approved. I think you could probably do a blanket approval at the next board meeting, but I
So
felt
if
like
you're
you
out of
guys.
melatonin,
Yeah.
That was the funniest thing you said to them.
I never think of you.
So one of the, and I probably could have done this under consent as well, but mileage reimbursement, the current rate is 57.5%. That is as of July 1. I know it's down from last year because somehow the state said because people weren't, gas was down. And so the state, so I would propose that we match the mileage with the state reimbursement.
Absolutely.
Then cell phone, and I don't think it's specifically in the policy manual, but, and Jeff and I have had lots of conversations. From my understanding, we currently have been providing and giving cell phone coverage to the assistant director. So we pay their bill, and then they buy their cell phones, and you'll see in the bills, there were, this last time there was a charge of almost $900, and one of them went and bought a new phone. About 3 months ago, same thing happened. And so 2 of them have brand new phones at $900 a piece. I'm under the understanding of IRS rules that there's a fine line to provide them with phones versus pay them a stipend, because it's actually a fringe benefit that has to come out of the tax. So what I am proposing is that, and you can see there, we pay roughly $233 a month. Then the actual 2 phones, we spent almost $4,500 on cell phones last year. I would propose to move to a stipend-based system. We're going to save a little bit, but I think in time we're going to save a lot because we're not going to be spending the phones. And then that way we'd be, and that assistant directors would get like $75 a month. Myself, 100. My phone is all the time, and many districts have done that. I did talk to several co-ops. Some of them are still in between. Several, I think I talked to 4 of them, where they went to a stipend-based proposal.
I like this because it's cleaner.
Yeah.
And the ration, and I'll tell you what sugar hair on the end. It uncurls her hair real quick.
Jeff probably tired of some of my assessments.
Well, but I mean, just on Terry's desk, just a bill for $700. You know, for a brand new iPhone 37 or whatever it is. You know, it was just kind of like, go pick it up from the receipt. And so we'll cut that out completely. And so and this is all part of the policy.
I kind of, these are some that, and I'd like to have some of this, like, say, go for it, so we can get it in this next month's check. Go for it. And I, on the cell phone coverage, I had Terry call to see if we're under contract. We are not under contract. We can end it at any time.
I would just maybe get clarification if we cancel the contract, we can do that, and we get to keep the phones plural, since they're already paid for, because all of them were discharged to the bill. So we need to figure out what exactly we're gonna do with all of those phones and what's the plan for them. So that's just, sorry.
And that's why we have a director.
That's, I was gonna say, that's not
Yeah, that's not that fun.
Well, one district or one co-op kept like one cell phone, so like if they had a site that had to go out or a nurse or something, and they could take that phone, check it out, take it for the day and bring it back. So we might keep one
Our
or two.
challenge with that is
Yeah.
that serves a few districts, but it doesn't serve a lot. I'm not saying it's not a good option, but it doesn't serve everyone.
And we can also just transfer them over to them individually and they take over from there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Para handbook, currently they have been getting a set amount of days of sick leave and then no personal time off. But Jesse and I looked at it and I would like to propose that they currently get 5 hours a month to build up. I would like to move that to 7 hours. And then, which would give them 63 hours a year. And then take away the no personal, because I'm sure what's happening is they're calling in sick. And so parents, we need them. I would propose just to move that to all paid time off. And so they would get approximately,
Well, we have, what is our policy? I don't remember what our policy is for our teachers. I don't think
it's still in negotiations.
Right, but I think that that's something that in the past we've pushed back on it being kind of, you use take it as you want it. Everything. And so if we do that for the paras and don't for our certified staff, I think we got that.
Or we could flip it and say they get like 3 personal days or 24 hours.
I just wanted to make sense in comparison to what we're doing with certified staff. I'm not opposed to them having some, because I agree with you. They're going to use it, calling sick or whatever it is. I don't want to force them to lie when they got something that they need to do, but I also don't want to open the can of worms.
The other rationale too is that we don't give them insurance, we don't give them any benefits, and so that gives them just a little bit of a.
Yeah, don't misunderstand me in that I want to take care of them for sure.
Yeah, no, I
just
get
want
it.
to make sure we're not.
And you know the history more than I do.
It probably would be good, maybe just to break it up into 6 days per, per personal day, just for continuity's sake. And see, I wanted to go 443, I wanted to go straight to PTO, but boy, I'm telling you what, in education, I got an earful from our HR department. And so I said, backed out.
It's a great system where you can use it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't fit us. They explained it to me, and I said, okay, I see the issues, I see the problem.
Well, in certain districts, do it in half-day increments. Some of them do it in actual hour.
That's one
increments.
thing we're in
Some of it's
negotiation.
full day because of needing stubs and stuff like that.
Right.
It gets really messy.
Well, that's the thing. I said, let's go to 2 hours. And then I got a 25-minute lecture while you can't.
Stop coming up with these concepts.
I know. Well, business and education is different,
They are.
And it's just not, I don't care how much you try to make them the same or not.
Tuition reimbursement, it's like 3 pages down, but I typed up specific, because when I would talk to Lisa or Terry, or I would talk to one of the assistant directors, I was getting all kinds of conflicting, and so I wanted to be on paper what we exactly do. So currently, we've been reimbursing for college hours if they take a class that is pertaining to their job. So there's no change there, except I would like to have some clarification on who is eligible for reimbursement for college hours. Is that all 613 employees? Is that just instructional staff? Is that instructional staff and administrative?
Is it, well, a good question. One thing that comes to my mind that we had discussion when we would go through the bills was we would get a huge variation of documentation for our reimbursements. And that needs to stop. If
Well,
it
that's
hasn't
something else
already.
here too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Jerry
took
and I
a
had lots
class,
of
give me
conversations.
$1,500.
I have no idea. I think we need to have a solid, it's a good tool, but we need to use it right. And be making sure we're.
Well, here's my question is, I think it needs to have teachers increase their craft to get tools in their toolbox. I'm not opposed to that. I don't think it's meant to have teacher B get her master's degree on us. It's not meant for an assistant director to get their master's degree on us.
I think, so here's where I am on that. I want people to be able to increase their education level, especially where we have step. Where you can do
Right.
class. I want to encourage that. I want them to do better. We're in the education business, so to not encourage that would seem a little counterintuitive. But given the fact that we have retention issues, not unique to us, but in this era, to me, if we've got somebody that's looking to, a teacher that wants to get their master's in special education in some certain
And that's
area, great. I want to encourage that, but I also want to include in that 5-year commitment that if that's broken, then they owe us those tuition dollars.
By contract.
Yeah,
It needs to be growing in a way that's gonna serve our district, whether it's a parent or a teacher or an administrator.
which I added on, under the special ed forgivable loan program. And I added in there, should be employed at least for 3 years, because that's currently not how it is. And when I brought that to my assistants, I said, oh, we've never had that. And I agree with you. I think if we're gonna spend the money, then they need to give us time back.
we
When they
have
leave,
discussed that in the past.
But we
And
never,
I'm pretty
we
sure
never
the
moved on.
board all agreed on it, but we maybe never put it into policy.
there's never a policy, yeah, there's never a writing. So I agree with the 3. I would say anywhere between 3 to 5, because that's kind of where everybody else is. Loan, so go back to reimbursement of college hours. So I totally agree with you, instructional staff. Where do I cut that off? Is that all staff? Is that just instructional, meaning our teachers and our psychs and our SLPs?
It should be anybody, I think, if they can, I mean, would it work to have them make a proposal to,
I do, I changed that form too.
Yeah,
and then you decide if it's gonna
I
serve?
think it has to be approved prior, obviously. It has to not be some stretch as to what this education is going to benefit in the realm of their drive. But I think we've got a lot of parents out there who need that incentive to increase their education, to hopefully become teachers.
Yeah.
And this doesn't necessarily directly serve the co-op. I wouldn't even pigeonhole a para that was wanting to go on and get education towards the teaching.
That's true. It could be education, but not necessarily special education.
I
Because
feel
we're
like that's going to
underserved
serve our
out
districts
here.
as a whole.
Well,
That's my
in-
opinion.
And
In
it's
Dodge,
first
in
step.
Dodge, we've had great success with our program. We've had great success with our program of paras getting their bachelor's.
Chances are, if it's a special ed para, they probably have an interest in special ed. So even if they became a teacher, and they may eventually then become a special ed teacher
That's right.
down the road.
Well, and we could help them move in this direction. In my opinion, you know.
As long as you can see a path that's gonna benefit
The plan of study.
our
It's an
district.
incentive with criteria. I mean, that's just all it is.
And maybe
So-
it makes most sense that, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't want to have much red tape, but that you and 2 of the assistants sit down and go over any of those requests, so it's not.
So it's not just me.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
I agree. So what I'm hearing with teachers, doing it 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years?
I'd like to go 12, but that's.
Yeah. My initial opinion is 5. I think you also run into issues there. I don't want to get into a situation where you got people who are giving you 3 years and then in year 4 or 5 and they're leaving, and then we're trying to enforce something that in all reality is really hard to do.
Well, do we do it 5 and prorate it after 3?
Maybe.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know,
I know the district I came from. did
you're
3.
vested at 3. I mean, really, you're vested at 3,
Right.
and then there's a prorate on the amount. You divide it up equally by the year, by 5 years in prorate.
They can buy it.
Yeah, they buy it.
Yep. I can give you on that.
On loan repayment, currently, and it's in negotiated agreement, but there was some language in there that Jason and I found. And what I typed here is pretty much directly out of negotiated agreement. But Jason is doing some research on the federal aid, because it stated that, and on the current application, it states that they need to pursue all avenues before they ask for that $1,000 a semester. Jason found off the federal loan website that actually we shouldn't help pay for any of that till they have 120 qualifying monthly payments. Which Jeff and I said that's basically 10 years. So I didn't know if we wanted to add that in or leave it as is. Currently, our loan repayment, all it says is in there is that they must first pursue all avenues of forgivable loans. Like if you teach in a certain district for a while, they'll take off with your federal loans. But there's no actual proof of that. It just says before you have asked us for the $1,000 reimbursement, make sure you pursued that. What Jason found on the federal student aid website is it says any public service loan forgiveness programs, which is kind of what this is that it forgives remaining balance or gives a payment on after you have made 120 qualifying monthly payments under a qualifying repayment plan while working full-time for a qualifying employer.
So you have to pay on your loans for 10 years before you get anything forgiven.
That's what. So we don't have to add that, but I'm just saying, do we want to? Or continue as is?
I would continue. I feel like it's been beneficial to me. And my knowledge of that.
Look, a guy my age, 10 years is so long.
And then I just gave you a copy of the contract for the forgivable loan. That's where they're going to get that teaching degree. I just added some I just made it look more official than what we had had in the past. I did find a couple of typos that I need to fix. Then thinking about policies, I know that it's I'm pretty sure it's in the new KSB, but something to think about down the road is if we need to have some set language about donors' choice, GoFundMe, Amazon, remember the exact account. The teachers can go in and create an account and say a wish list, and then public can buy that for them. Same way with donors' choice. And so I think we need a policy that has set language. Because if you're a teacher A and you've done that and they donate it, thinking they're donating it to 613. So then that whatever they get becomes 613. And then I would like to see us somewhere in that policy as well, have some requirements around like technology. Technology is great, but they need to buy the technology that's applicable in their district. And so if they went and bought, all these iPads, but yet the technology plan for, let's say, Cimarron doesn't include iPads. And so then their IT department has a hard time servicing those. And so I would like to, in that policy, have some language about if it's technology, you need to have approval of the district of what that's going to look like. But then very strong language that because donors donate, thinking they're giving it to the district, not to that individual person. And so wherever they're at, that needs to stay. And so if they do it under the guise of 613, then all of that would stay with 613. So just some things to think about.
How much of this have we?
It's not, I don't know of any that I personally took time, but when Benny told me about that, I went and did some research in bigger cities and things that have GoFundMe, my children don't have pencils and paper. Yeah, and people get literally tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, it's a real problem.
Stuff on social media with some local teachers, like just teachers.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more than what you probably think.
Yeah.
We should just put something in
Yeah.
I mean, we have a funding structure in place. We're not leaving people without pencils. I mean, that is kind of the point of the co-op, is if there is a need, they come to the co-op with that request. I don't feel like that should be.
Well, so either way, what I would propose either way, if you say no, then we need to have a policy so that we can tell our teachers, do not go out there and create a donor's choice. Do not go out there and do a GoFundMe. GoFundMe, all we need to do. I would say no.
I don't want to shut down teachers from being able to let.
Well, but here's the thing. In Dodge, all fundraisers have to be approved by the board.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Approved by the
Yeah, administrator.
And how do we even know,
Or
these
consent
people are
agenda.
putting these GoFundMes out, how do we even know they're legit or they're?
Right.
Well, that's why I think you have to say it needs to either be GoFundMe or donor's choice, if they do some checking, or or, because Amazon wish something. They,
How do we police that if they get $10,000 and they set it up and we don't even know about it? Then
but I think there's also a way where we can set it up so it has to come back through us. So
I'm not trying to keep teachers from getting resources or people being able to give things to them. But I don't like the idea of I'm setting up my own page to get money or,
That's why we need a policy, because I think you're right, I think it's gonna come up. So next time, definitely. Two, 4 other policies that we need to make sure we actually really look at and adopt are acceptable use of technology. And so staff knows exactly where that boundary is. Mandatory reporting. And then our emergency safety intervention, that's restraint if you have a child that's totally out of control. And then inventory. I'd like to have something in place where we start doing some specific inventory so we know exactly what we have and that we can keep track. And I have a feeling we've got lots of asset dollars in places that so those are policies I'd like to see us make sure next time we really develop. Going back to budget, you talk about tracking. Terry and I have spent lots of time looking at budgets and purchase recs and those kinds of things. And so it's hard when we have a teacher that's in that city needing supplies. They have to make a trip here to either pick up the credit card or they do the purchase rec. It comes to Terry, Terry orders it, and then either they have to come pick it up or we take and deliver it. And there's just a time lapse there. So I am proposing that we offer all of our instructional staff what's called a procurement card. Basically, it's a credit card, but we determine the amount, so they can't go over that amount. We can also set it where there's certain places they can't shop. And so there's lots of, you can put parameters on it. But we would put their, currently they get $200, put that money on it. That way, an example even with speech, they need apps on their iPads. So currently, Terry would have to buy the app, and then they would have to come in and help download it. And it's just lots of, this way speech, they have their card, they can download it, they're free to go. Our teachers in Kismet or, Ashland or Buckland, they can do their own Amazon account. You can give them a login with tax exempt. It can be shipped directly just to their place. And that way.
This isn't, so every teacher would get one?
Right.
And this is not a prepaid Visa card type of scenario where you got service fees and all that.
Actually, we'll get cash back from Commerce.
And you would see what they purchased.
Well, and along with that, it doesn't even matter that or any receipt that you spent money on has to come to Terry on this format. It has to be taped on, no staples, because auditors will not take staples. And then you have to have a description of what you got in the rationale behind it. On our purchase rec, we've also included a line of rationale because I want to know why you want to buy $1,200, $120 in smart pen.
And so, can I add, if this doesn't exist, she has every bit of authority and responsibility not to pay it.
Yeah, I want to tell you, one of the most embarrassing things when we went through our trial of tribulation, was they said, we have about 7 receipts and about 350 charges. And in my job was to monitor credit cards. How about lost?
A bunch of purchases were like Walmart.
Yeah. Oh,
That's good to track.
no, I was slower on that. No,
Well, that was one of the things we'd sit down and go through the bills too, and I'm like, where's this receipt? Well, it had been approved, paid. She was doing what she was supposed to, but it shouldn't be paid.
So is that a form we already use?
No, this is brand new. But trust me too, it's a brand new, it's not a brand new policy, but it's brand new, that it's going to be enforced.
So we've been pretty loose on that.
That's pretty much.
We've gotten a lot better in the last couple
Yes,
of years.
yes, we have. Yes, we have. But we still have, we still have issues.
And if they make a charge on their card and they don't have the receipt, then they have to pay for it.
And I've been to heavy before. I said, dude.
I guarantee they only do it once.
Well,
Amazing how those receipts end up getting a picture taken of them after that.
but here's the thing, well, I can't get a receipt. Well, if you did what you said you did, I can have a receipt here in 2 hours. You know, the phone call. Well, we, then they explain it. Anyway, it's the key. Honest people.
So your bedtime reading will for next month is to kind of glance through the policy manual so that we can get those put in place.
Do you want us to focus on those 4?
Those are critical missions. Those are the ones that need to know, yes. Those are critical missions. I should add in the harassment as well. So there's not a strong harassment policy currently. We're just opening ourselves up. Oh, yes, there is.
So we will do a process of reviewing and discussing and reviewing it, and eventually the idea is we're gonna adopt this. with maybe some change.
Your local board probably has this.
Oh, yeah. Well, they give us manuals, and I've read continue.
Guess what, you're gonna read your first one.
Wouldn't hold my breath. You look good in purple, but not purple.
Personnel report. We have a teacher now at Comanche, with 2 of them. We have one at Lynn, we have one at Willow Gardens, and another one at Comanche. And then resignations, we can read those off. We still have 1 vacancy at Comanche and 1 vacancy at Northwest. And then we continue to need speech, and we continue to need psych, and then we continue to need OT. But when we talk about actual teaching vacancies, we're down to 1.
Do you need a motion to approve those? Yeah. So moved.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And the same with Paris, we're kind of, we feel like we're where we need to be, but you're never where you need to be. And so, until we know caseloads, we're not going to know exactly how many more pairs we actually should do. And so I know the districts are getting ready to do enrollment, so as soon as we know enrollment and we know where our caseloads are, then we'll push to get those.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There's no superintendent's report. Miscellaneous business, we need to go back to the budget and decide how. I'm sorry, I've read saying that. But a budget's been presented to us. And we need to, when do we have?
I have to decide on assessments today, because superintendents need from 120 to finish their budget. The rest of the budget, I think we can wait on. I have until August 25th to actually enter it all into the system, but this one is critical. Superintendents need these numbers.
Okay, now tell me what your proposal is.
My proposal was to do it in the middle, do a $5 increase, or we could take it to $3.50. $5 increase isn't going to give us much, whereas the $3.50, we increased it by $55, would give us about $500,000.
It is wonderful to be able to do this with just us.
Yeah.
We
have to see them again.
What?
They
We'll have to see them
originally,
again.
it was interesting, they
Well,
originally wanted that 150 from the ESSER account, just to go in here and don't do anything with assessments. And then they realized, they looked at my budget and they went, oh, okay, 150 isn't going to go very far.
Yeah,
Still struggling with the target on the reserves, because the reserve seemed high, but then they came down so fast. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around all of that.
well, we've got to get some
Number.
trail of where it was $4.2 million. So, I mean, I can get behind Kenneth's assessment of where about 3 million, but I'm missing 1.2.
That's real money at my house. Yeah.
That's way beyond my house.
Joanne,
Yes,
could you tell me again, that farthest column, that 350, that is 350
per FTE.
Okay, per FTE.
Yes.
Jeff, you want a motion?
Not yet.
I think, hang on, my clock says 11:30, let's get this thing done. I'll make the motion that we, approve, or we move the assessment to the far column, the $350.
I'm not
You
there.
got some groans in here. Okay,
I'm not there.
is there a second? Okay, the motion died for lack of a second.
When I did my budget with revenue, I based it on the 300.
What was the difference in like a 320 or a 325?
Well, I was at 310.
310. I'm still at 300.
I can get behind the 310. We need to do something. I think we've got to get a very clear 5-year plan for getting us back to neighborhood. I don't want to jump $55. We have too much uncertainty, and I think that's really bad optics for our districts right now. I think even jumping to 3.25 is pretty big deal. I can get behind 310. I feel better at 305.
Well, we have, what, it was interesting, is you had different, even the soup for a little bit, they like it in smaller increments.
Yeah.
And I think that's very fair. I mean, we've said no to our administrator probably more in the last 90 days than we've had in the last, 10 years. Because we're just concerned about the economic situation.
Well, I think the other piece is it gives them, if we start this process with an incremental increase, our conversation a little bit ago gives them the heads up that we've got to move in the direction of increases. Gives them a year to move towards that in their own budgets, in our own individual district budgets. I just think a small move right now makes a lot more sense.
Okay,
So I'll throw out a motion to increase assessments to 305.
okay. I have a motion. I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
I have, okay, that motion carries. But I appreciate that. I like it when that's different.
The other miscellaneous I have is just FYI, in the next couple of board meetings, I want to really start that strategic plan process. We need to really create a vision of where we want 613 to go. From there, we need to create our mission and then come up with some goals. Because you can't hardly, like you said, we need a goal for our reserves. Well, we need to have a real strong vision and mission and know where we're headed so that we can build our goal and then build our budget from that. And so just FYI, we'll start that process next.
Okay. Any other miscellaneous business questions? First of all, I hope, first of all, is, what, when the suits aren't here, you guys talk a lot. Okay? And so I appreciate that. But first of all, I hope you see changes. I hope you see a new direction.
Oh, I already see.
Yes, and I think that we're going to get the information we need to make intelligent decisions that will benefit both our staff and our children. So I am excited. I appreciate Trina's efforts, and I appreciate these guys' efforts too, because there's a little bit of a new energy and stuff, and I'm not being negative about anything. I'm just saying that we're looking at things we haven't looked at before. You're seeing things that you haven't seen before, and we're going to be as transparent as humanly possible.
You know, when John came on, obviously we were dealing with a huge mess. John stepped into that position, and I think did a great job in taking that and wisely moving us forward. And when John turned in his resignation, he said, I don't feel like I'm the person to continue this. And so it's good to see that progression and then just see it ramping up, because that's where we need to be. That's all we've discussed.
So I'm excited, and I appreciate you guys. And I tell you what, after sitting through 35, 40-minute board meetings the first couple of years I was here, and you're thinking, why am I here? We have people who care and people who are engaged, and gosh, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. So, having said that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor, get up and go home.
I would like to add that, feel free to shoot out information to us.
Okay. Yes.
As much, because I a lot of times feel like I don't know what's going on in between meetings. Can you guys make sure you have your correct email address?
Yeah, we got it. I don't think Dirksen does anything to send us emails.
I get lots of them from water.
Yeah, I know.
At home.
Right.
I'd like to get more.
Pardon?
You guys will make sure you write in your.
Hey, good to see you, man. Really good.
I saw you.
Yeah.
I saw you yesterday.
sexual harassment, I apologize.
I saw you yesterday.
Oh.